Here he comes, here he comes. There's the trumpets, there's the drums, here he comes. Hopalong, Cassidy, here he comes.
It had all begun a week ago in the Twin Rivers Bar and Gambling Hall. Dick Lewis, owner of the place, was sitting in a high-stakes game. Luck, as usual, was running with Lewis. When one of the other players discovered that there was a marked deck in the game, in our part of the West, that always called for quick and decisive action, and a moment later, Lewis lay dead, a bullet in his heart from the gun of Sam Coates. Before the day was over, the coroner's jury brought in the expected verdict, justifiable homicide. That was the story Red and I heard when we returned from El Paso, where I'd been taking care of some business for the Cattlemen's Association. Ordinarily, the verdict of the coroner's jury would have ended the story if it hadn't been for Tom Lewis, the son of the dead man. Hi, Tommy.
Hello, Hoppy. Hello, Red.
Hi.
Hoppy, I've been waiting for you to get back. Can I talk to you in private?
You sure can. Come on into the office. Excuse us, Judge.
Oh, why don't you get it off your chest, Tommy? Here, use this if you have to.
Thanks, Red, but I've done all the bawling I'm going to. Hoppy, what am I gonna do? I can't let people go on thinking my dad was killed on account of a marked deck.
Was the deck marked, Tommy?
Yes, it was. But somebody else must have brought it into the game. Dad told me he never had a marked deck or a pair of crooked dice in the place. He said the house could win honestly. Percentage would take care of that.
If the boy was telling me the truth, this was more than just a shooting over a card game. It was a frame-up for a cold-blooded murder.
Please, Hoppy, will you help me prove my dad didn't bring that marked deck into play?
I'll do my best, Tommy. But first, we gotta figure out what we're gonna do with you.
Oh, I'll be all right.
Why don't you listen to Hoppy?
Why don't you lay off me? Always telling me what to do.
All I ever says to him is, why don't you go to school? Why don't you clean yourself up? Why don't you quit hanging around your dad's gambling place?
See what I mean, Hoppy? He whines me to death.
Red only does that because he likes you, Tommy.
I kind of like him, too. But he gets on my nerves sometimes.
I got news for you. I've known Red a lot longer than you have. You should know what he does to my nerves sometimes. But I don't know what I'd do without him. Now to get back to you. Your mother lives in Denver, doesn't she? Has she been notified?
Yeah, she and my stepfather are on their way here now. I'll be a ward of the court until they get here.
Well, that takes care of that. Now, Tommy, you knew your dad better than anybody else. Did he ever tell you that he had enemies? Someone that might want to get even with him about something?
Only maybe a couple of sore losers. Or Jack Gardner.
Jack Gardner? You mean your father's cashier?
Yeah, he was always yelping about not getting a big enough share of the profits.
He was, huh? Well, we have to start someplace. I'll go over and have a little talk with Mr. Gardner. Wait a minute. You stay here with Tommy.
Oh, Hoppy.
Hello, Cassidy.
Hi, Gardner.
What's on your mind?
Oh, curiosity mostly. I just found out you were in charge here.
Court appointed me until Tommy's legal guardians get here.
No, thanks. Did Lewis leave much of an estate?
Oh, you should have it. Over 50,000 cash in the bank alone.
The kid gets it all, I suppose.
That's what the will says.
Just between you and me, how long had Lewis been using a marked deck?
I don't know, Cassidy, but he's had those in his desk for the last 6 months.
Are these the same kind of cards that were in the game when he was shot?
Yeah, take a look at the markings. They're perfect. Not one chance in a million of anyone finding out about it.
Coates found out about it.
Well, that's that chance in a million.
This place was making a lot of money. Why do you suppose he took a chance on using a marked deck?
He wanted to sell out. I guess he figured on getting everything he could out of it before he sold.
That's a lie. Dad never meant to sell out.
Don't call me a liar, you little brat, or I'll slap you silly.
Don't you touch that kid or I'll break your neck.
That's enough, Red. You too, Gardner. Tommy, there's certain things you have to learn to face, and this is one of them. Your father was killed because he cheated with a marked deck.
Sorry I was hasty. Guess it must be pretty tough on the kid having to admit his father was a cheat.
You'll get over it in time.
I guess so. Well, anything else I can tell you?
No, you heard what I told the kid. That's my final word on the subject. As far as I'm concerned, the book is closed. See you later. Tommy, I'm sorry I had to talk the way I did.
You let me down, Hoppy. Put me cold.
I haven't quit you, son. I'm still on your side.
But I heard what you said about Dad cheating and everything.
Maybe we'd better go inside and talk this over, huh? Come on. Tommy, would you come here a minute, please? I know what I said to you in front of Gardner over there sounded pretty bad. But I want you to know that you and I are in this deal right down to the finish. No matter what you hear me say or see me do, you'll have to trust me. And no questions.
It's a deal, Hoppy. But I still don't see why you talked like you did.
I had to do that. I had to make Gardner think I believed him. Don't you understand?
I should have known what was on your mind, Hoppy. I'm going over there and bring him in.
Hey. You gonna arrest him, huh?
Of course I'm going to arrest him.
And what are you gonna do for proof that he's involved?
Well, you believe he's guilty, don't you?
Of course I believe he's guilty. He lied about enough things. Before we make any move against him, I want to find out if there's any tie-up between him and the man who killed Tommy's dad.
You mean you're going to look up this man, Coates?
Exactly. I want to find out all about him.
You won't have to look far for him, Hoppy.
What do you mean?
There's Coates now. The one leading the horse.
Somebody else must have gotten a card game with him.
Yeah. Let's see what this is all about.
This man is hurt. Where's there a doctor?
Right across the street here.
The doc is out of town, Hoppy.
He is? Bring him over to my office. Help him get him off of there, will you, Red? What happened to this man?
His buckboard ran away. I was riding along the road when I first saw the runaway. I tried to stop the horses, but they got away from me and ran off the road and over the cliff. The woman with him was dead when I got down to them.
Where did this happen?
On the cliff road, a couple of miles out of town.
You'll be coming out of it in a minute. You any idea who he is?
Never saw him before in my life. I've only been around here a couple of weeks.
Your name's Coates, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
My name's Cassidy.
Yes, I know. You're the law around here.
I represent what law there is in Twin Rivers.
You figuring on starting something over that shooting last week?
Well, not at all. I'm satisfied with the coroner's verdict. I might have done the same thing you did if somebody rang in a marked deck on me.
If I can help you any more with him, I'll be glad to.
Oh, no, that's all right. We can handle him. Thanks.
Right.
Where am I? Who are you? What happened?
You better take it easy, mister. You had a bad fall.
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember now. My wife. Where's my wife? Is she all right?
I'm sorry to have to tell you this, mister, but your wife is dead.
Dead? No. No. She'd been so happy. Looking forward to having her son Tommy with her again. After all these years.
Well, you must be Tommy Lewis's stepfather.
Yes. I'm Brad Mason.
So you're the skunk that ran away with Tommy's mother when he was only 5 years old. What are you doing for a living now? Rustling sheep?
That's enough, Fred. Tommy, come here a minute, please. This is Tommy Lewis, Mr. Mason.
Hello, son. I want to be friends with you. I'm going to try to make up for everything you've lost.
I don't want any part of you.
But, Tommy, now that your mother is gone, I'll be your legal guardian. I know of a wonderful school in Denver. You'll be happy there.
I still don't want anything except to see my dad cleared. Hoppy, you won't let him take me with him, will you?
It might be best for you. Remember our agreement. This boy's been through quite a lot in the last week. Suppose you leave him here with me. Maybe I can help straighten him out.
Thanks. It's a good idea. I'll take a room in the hotel until I can get things settled. You know, the estate and everything.
Yes, I know.
Oh, is there someone here who can take care of my wife's body?
I'll see that it's done.
Thanks. I'll talk with you later.
Right. For a man who'd been over a cliff in a runaway, he'd got away with mighty little damage to himself. And suddenly, 2 and 2 began to make 4. First, the boy's father had been killed, and then his mother. I was sure it was more than just coincidence. I'm going out where that accident happened. You stay here with Tommy. Down at the bottom of this ravine lay the wrecked buckboard and what was left of Tommy's mother. She had paid for the mistake she had made. I had learned one thing on the climb back up to the road. The man didn't live who could carry an unconscious man up that steep wall. In the dust of the road, footprints showed that 2 men had walked to the edge of the ravine and then walked back to a horse. And there were footprints of a woman's shoes, a woman who had struggled for her life. I was sure now that this so-called accident had been just a cover-up for another cold-blooded murder. And I was just as sure that Coates was tied in with Tommy's stepfather. Now, if I could find evidence that would tie them in with Gardner, the law would be able to put ropes around the necks of all 3. The place to look for the evidence I wanted lay in town. I made sure that Coates was out of the way, for purely on a hunch, I wanted to have a look at his room in the hotel.
In the saddlebags, I found the tie-in between Coates and Gardner. The cards I had found were identical with the decks used in Dick Lewis's gambling hall. And here was marking ink and the pen. Now I could see how Gardner was able to get the marked cards into the game when Lewis was shot. But the evidence that tied the three killers together was a letter postmarked Denver to Coates. And the part that would hang all three of them read, "Glad to hear that you have contacted Gardner and that he will play ball with you. As soon as my wife is notified of Lewis's death, we will leave for Twin Rivers. The rest is up to you." And it was signed, Brad Mason.
Get your hands up, Cassidy. Get back in that room. Hold it. Get your hands high, Cassidy. Lucky for me that Mason saw you going into my room and warned me. But I should have figured you had ideas right from the start. I knew you were a lot smarter than the rest of the dumb clucks around here.
Thanks for that compliment.
Find anything interesting?
Enough to hang all three of you.
You mean if you had lived long enough, but you won't. You see, I surprised a prowler in my room, and I killed him before I found out he was Hopalong Cassidy.
You won't always get the break.
Yes, we will. Plenty more. Before this day is over, Mason and I will be on our way back to Denver with a bank draft for $50,000, and Gardner will own the gambling hall. A fair deal all around, wouldn't you say?
And what happens to Tommy Lewis?
That's not my affair. It's up to Mason to take care of his stepson.
I can imagine what that'd be.
Oh, well, nobody lives forever, and that includes you, Cassidy.
We heard a shot, Cassidy. What happened?
I just saved the county the expense of hanging Coates. Take him in off the street, will you, please? Thanks, Fred. Well, that's two down and one to go. Where's Tommy?
Well, that's why I came looking for you, to tell you they came and took him away about 10 minutes ago.
Who took him away?
Judge Graham and his stepfather.
Where'd they take him?
Last I saw of him, they were headed for the judge's office. I came looking for you, and when I went back, there was no sign of the kid or Mason. Oh, I guess I'm just no good to you, Hoppy.
Oh, that's all right, Red. I guess you couldn't help it. Come on, I want to talk to that judge.
What's the shooting, Hoppy?
Never mind the shooting. Where's Tommy Lewis and Mason?
Well, I'll tell you, Hoppy. Mason and I discussed the situation. He thought it was in the boy's best interest to be taken away from the scene of his unhappiness as soon as possible. So I concurred in his opinion. Turned over a bank draft to him.
Never mind the campaign speech, Judge. Where's the boy?
He was on his way to the junction to get the train for Denver. I loaned Mason my rig. Something wrong?
Not much. You probably just signed that boy's death warrant. Come on, Red.
Mason must have caught sight of us just about the same time we caught sight of him. We didn't dare shoot back at Mason. We couldn't risk hitting Tommy on that swaying buckboard ahead. Mason's sixth shot. His gun was empty. Now we could chance it.
Pull up!
Keep him covered, Red.
Gee, Hoppy, I'm glad you're here. I was scared.
Don't worry now. Everything is all right. Would you like to ride Red's horse back to town?
Sure. Thanks, Hoppy.
Red, you drive the buckboard.
Get over there. Ooh.
All right. Let's go.
Red, Hoppy's back from the county seat.
Are you, Hoppy?
Hi, Derwin. How's the family?
Fine.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Hoppy.
Well, for goodness sake, you look wonderful.
Thanks, Hoppy.
Hi, Red.
How are you, Hoppy?
Well, Judge, they took care of Mason.
Yes, what happened?
The jury found him guilty of murder in the first degree. He'll spend the rest of his life in prison.
With the evidence you had, he'd have hung if I'd been the prosecutor.
Personally, I think there's been too much hanging. I'm satisfied that they put him away for life. Got my papers ready?
Yep, here you are. This paper makes you the legal guardian of Tommy Lewis until he reaches the age of 21 years. Is that all right with you, Tommy?
Sure. That makes me just about the luckiest kid in the world.
Well, Red and I'll get you over to the junction so you can get the train for Austin. By this time next week, you'll be enrolled in one of the finer schools in Texas. Thanks, Judge. See you later. Here we go.
Goodbye, boys.
Bye.
Bye, Judge.
Goodbye, Tommy.
Gee, Hoppy, I know you're doing what's best for me, but I hate to leave you and Red.
I don't know what's the matter with you, Tommy. Here you got a chance to get an education and be a big doctor or a lawyer or something.
I don't want to be a big doctor or lawyer or something. I'd rather stay here and be just like you.
Oh, not that, Tommy, not that. Come on, I better get you on that train. Up you go. There you are. There we go.
There he goes on his way down the moonlit trail to where cowboys race. Hop along, Cassidy. Hop along, Cassidy. He'll return soon again. There's no use to say goodbye until then. Hop along, Cassidy.